Got a weekend to recap and a game against the Eichel-less Golden Knights to preview. That's coming up here in the Locked On Sabres podcast.
You're Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Sabres your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for tuning into the show. YouTube channel, by the way. You can check out the YouTube channel to like and subscribe the show there. Watch the show, of course, and to ask a question in the comment section. Sabres are now riding a 3-game win streak after wins over the Kings, the Avalanche, and the Coyotes. Things are going well. They are in Vegas for a 10 o'clock puck drop on Monday night against the Golden Knights. Some interesting lineup notes for that game, including news on Jack Eichel that we'll have for you a little bit later in today's show. But I want to recap the weekend to start things off and take a look at the standings and how realistic it really is to think that the Sabres could make the postseason as we start to scoreboard watch around the league a little bit and take that idea a little bit more seriously. But starting with the wins, I mean, we talked about the Kings game last week, 6-0, an incredible third period after getting run over in the first 40 minutes. The Avalanche game was a little bit more even, I would say, throughout the game, and the Sabres were able to take that one in Colorado. They have played great out west this season. Remember that early season West Coast trip where they swept, or they did not sweep, they lost to Vancouver right at the end, but they won their few games before that. Here's a win over the Avalanche, and then a fairly easy one over the Arizona Coyotes. The Coyotes are not a good hockey team. They are playing in a college rink. Sabres' first game maybe ever that I can remember in a college rink. And the team is just bottom of the barrel. They're tanking, hoping for Connor Bedard, and nothing serious in terms of their caliber of play this year. Now, Jeff Skinner returns to the lineup on Saturday night against the Arizona Coyotes. He scores 2 goals, adds an assist. He was incredible in that game, and the Sabres were able to dominate possession from beginning to end. They outshot the Coyotes throughout the game, and they were able to get the wins, to get it to 3 games. Win a game that you should win. You couldn't get swept by the Coyotes. It was bad enough that the Sabres got beat at home by the Coyotes earlier in the season. That was a game the Sabres controlled throughout, just didn't get a good result. Bad goaltending on the Sabres end and good goaltending on the Coyotes end. But a third straight win there was actually funny. And I think the first 40 minutes of the Kings game really exaggerates this. But the Sabres are dead last in the NHL in expected goals for in the last 3 games. Now, winning some games that maybe you shouldn't win, and I'm not sure which ones I'd even want to say they shouldn't win. You know, the Avalanche game, sure, there were pockets where the Sabres did not play well. First 40 minutes against the Kings. But even if you could make the case, which I'm not going to, that they shouldn't have won those games, it evens out a little bit. The Sabres have had a lot of games earlier in the year where they have been the better team on the ice and have not won because either their goaltending has let them down or there's been a bad bounce that goes against them. Whereas these last 3 games, all right, maybe they got some bounces to go their way. Maybe the Kings ran out of gas last week. Maybe the Coyotes, played them as tough as they possibly can. The Avalanche, Makar had a really strong game, I thought, except in the first he had a couple turnovers. But second and third, I thought he was a lot better. I don't know. Win some games you shouldn't win. That's the mark of a good hockey team, as opposed to losing games that you should win. So, 3-game win streak for the Sabres. They can extend that win streak to 4 when they play the Vegas Golden Knights before finally returning home on Friday. It's been a while since the Sabres have been home for that game. And with goals by Jeff Skinner and Tage Thompson adds another goal against the Arizona Coyotes, Thompson is now up to 25 goals and 24 assists for 49 points in 31 games played. He is now listed at BetOnline for the Hart Trophy. He is far down the list at 40-1 plus 4,000. So you have to bet 100 to win 4,000, but he is at least now listed to win the MVP of the NHL. He'd probably have to get 110, 20 points. And on top of that, the Sabres would absolutely have to make the playoffs for that to be even a part of the equation. So Thompson continues his hot play. Rasmus Dahlin with a couple more points. He is up to 37 points in 30 games played. A great bar in wrist shot goal in the second period against Colorado. Just a fantastic shot. His finish has gotten so much better this year. Second fastest Sabre in their history to get to 10 goals. It only took him 30 games. Only Phil Housley did it faster. Skinner, by the way, now up to 15 goals and 20 assists, 35 points in 28 games played. He actually passes Alex Tuck for the third most points on the team this season. Cousins adds an empty net goal against Colorado. He's up to 31 points in 31 games, back to a point a game. Or maybe he's been, I'm not sure he's even dropped below that, but he's at a point a game. So that's the update on the stats. How about an update on the standings? We'll have that for you. And a look at the playoff picture. I've got playoff odds, percentage odds from a certain website when we come back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast with Joe DiBiase. And we are brought to you by Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens, you can even go with the drops, you can go with the powder. The drops, you just drop one quick little drop into your coffee or your water. You don't even notice that it's there, and it gets you all the vitamins and minerals that you need. The shakes taste great. It's just, you throw some crushed ice in there, mix it up a little bit, and it's delicious. With one delicious scoop of AG1 with the powder, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help your day start right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging as well. It costs less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health. It's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's cheaper than getting all those different supplements yourself. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. Right now, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Joe DiBiase back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. All right, the Sabres, after a 3-game win streak, which they're currently in the midst of, we'll see if they can extend it in Vegas on Monday night. They now have 32 points in 31 games played. They're above a point per game, which they have not been since were the 81 points maybe under Dan Bylsma. I can't even tell you the last time. It's been maybe a decade. 15, 14, and 2. The Sabres still have the most goals scored in the National Hockey League with 124. The next closest is Dallas and Boston with 116. The Sabres are now at a plus 17 goal differential. That is better than teams in front of them, like the Red Wings, the Panthers, the Capitals, the Islanders. It is better than the Carolina Hurricanes, better than the Minnesota Wild, better than the Kings, better than the Kraken, the Oilers, the Avalanche, the Flames. All these teams that are in playoff spots, the Sabres have a better goal differential than. And I think that's some way of looking at, okay, maybe they're better than their record and they might progress to the mean. Maybe the mean for the Sabres is right around the bubble of making the postseason. 5 back of a playoff spot, which is currently occupied by the New York Islanders. The Islanders have 37 points in 32 games. The Sabres have 32 points in 31 games. So 5 points back, but the Sabres do have 1 game in hand. The problem is they also have 3 teams in between them and the Islanders. The Red Wings at 32 points, the Panthers at 34 points, and the Capitals at 36 points. Sabres have 2 games in hand on the Capitals, 1 game in hand on the Panthers, and the Red Wings have a game in hand on the Sabres. Actually, if you look right now at moneypuck.com, the Sabres odds are up to 23.7%. As of a couple weeks ago, they were in the single digits. They are now about a quarter to make a quarter of the time by the simulation they would make the postseason. Excuse me. That is actually higher than the Islanders. The Islanders actually have a lower playoff odds than the Sabres, despite the fact they are currently in a spot. Now, the problem is you've got, I think, 5 teams vying for one spot. I think everything else is locked up. I think the other 7 teams, maybe, the Rangers might fall out. But that is not a position right now, the third place in the Metro, that is available to the Sabres, of course. So I think you've got 5 teams, 6, if you want to count the Rangers, vying for one spot, and that the Sabres will have available to them. And I think the Panthers are way too talented not to be the favorite to get that position. The Capitals still have a lot of talent as well. In fact, that's exactly how it goes in the order of odds at Money Puck. You've got the Panthers at 66% to make the playoffs, the Capitals at 59%, Rangers at 41%, Sabres at 23%, Islanders at 21%, and then you got to go. Actually, Detroit, interestingly enough, I don't know why Money Puck has them this low. They do have some weird things at their site. They got the Red Wings at 5.1% chance to make the playoffs. That is crazy low. Crazy low. 5.1%. Sabres are more than 4 times higher than that. So the standings is looking a little bit better. It still looks like a tough road ahead, a tough ask. Topping Florida the rest of the way is going to be a huge challenge for the Sabres. They are the team I am most worried about for sure. So I'm not betting on that happening, but they have a shot. I would say they have as good a shot as any of these other teams, as good as the Islanders, as good as the Red Wings, and even the Capitals. I think the Sabres, in fact, if I were the Panthers and I think, okay, I'm probably likely to get that spot, who's my biggest threat? If I'm the Panthers, my biggest threats would be the Washington Capitals, number 1, and I think I'd put the Sabres number 2. I think I would put the Sabres number 2. So that's what the standings are looking like right now. It's looking better, but not yet in the best position you could be in. We'll take one more timeout. When we come back, a preview of Sabres and Golden Knights. What's going on with Jack Eichel, and a welcome addition back to the Sabres lineup on Monday night that we'll tell you about. Plus, my bet of the night at BetOnline is ahead here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Welcome back to the Locked On Sabres podcast with Joe DiBiase. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. All right, Sabres and Golden Knights. It's a 10 o'clock puck drop in Vegas for the Sabres' only trip to Vegas of the season. No Jack Eichel in this game. Jack Eichel will not play. He has been dealing with an injury. He has missed the last couple of games, so no Eichel. Now, from the Sabres standpoint, they are getting a little bit healthier. A huge addition back to the lineup. Ilya Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin has been very rocky all season long. But the Sabres have had AHL defensemen in their lineup for the past couple of games. Jeremy Davies, Kale Clegg, Lawrence Pilot, and I would add Casey Fitzgerald into that as well. That is 4, I would think, if your team is deep on the blue line, those guys are all AHL defensemen. And the Sabres have had almost their whole blue line filled with it. Lyubushkin was unsteady earlier in the year, rocky throughout the first couple of weeks and month of the season, but better than what they've been offering. He can play big minutes. I think you're probably expecting 18 to 20 minutes a night in his first game back. He was skating on a pair with Lawrence Pilot, Kel Clegg with Casey Fitzgerald, Davies. Jeremy Davies comes out of the lineup. Samuelson and Dahlin, of course, will log the most minutes at the top of the unit. I'll be a little interested to see who plays that second power play unit. Dahlin was kind of double shifting against the Coyotes. Kel Clegg maybe will do it a little bit. He got one little shift. Pilot has been a Pilot before the season. I would have told you would be the guy I trust with that because how good he is tape-to-tape passing. But he has been a turnover machine as of late, super inconsistent. This Pilot is not playing nearly as well as the Pilot we remember from a couple of years ago. And you got to hope he gets back on track, but it's not happening right now. My bet of the night. Oh, before we do that, starting goaltenders for Monday night's game. The Sabres will be likely going with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen from the information I have here at time of recording. It's probably going to be Luukkonen, and it's going to be Aiden Hill for the Vegas Golden Knights. So that's what you're looking at from that standpoint. And my bet of the night, Sabres to score in the first 10 minutes. I'm looking at that at Bet Online. Sabres to score in the first 10 minutes, which they have been doing consistently here. They did against Columbus. They did against the Avalanche. They've just been plenty of games here where the Sabres right out of the gates. They're firing on all cylinders and they're getting goals. Sabres to score a goal in the first 10 minutes of action is at plus 160. Like those plus odds a lot. You bet 100 to make 160. That's my bet of the night for Sabres and Golden Knights. And I hope you enjoy the game. Of course, with the morning shifts at GR, I'm actually going to be going to sleep before the game. I'm going to wake up bright and early tomorrow morning, probably at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to watch the game back. So I'm going to be watching it at a different time than you do, but I'm asleep. I don't really have to avoid the score, really. It's got to be careful in the morning. So enjoy the game. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to wake up and watch the game tomorrow morning. So hopefully it's a fun one, and the Sabres extend their win streak to 4. We'll talk about it next time here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Now we encourage you to go make your next listen Locked On Sports Today. Peter Bukowski brings you the biggest stories from around the sports world in 20 minutes. Get the analysis and opinions before anyone else with our local and national experts and insiders. Locked On Sports Today, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.